Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be telling you guys 10 unknown facts about various ancient civilizations like ancient Egypt, ancient India, ancient Greece, and many other civilizations. Watch till the end because most of these facts are very interesting. Let's get started. Number 1. Around 1000 AD, the Incas had skull surgeons who performed trepanation, which is a procedure to relieve intracranial pressure in people with head trauma. By 1400 AD, the survival rates after the procedure were 90%. In the event of severe head traumas, the brain swells inside the skull, increasing intracranial pressure and depriving the brain of blood flow. To prevent any damage to the brain, surgeons cut open the skull, giving the brain much needed space, thus decreasing the pressure. They were even able to carefully avoid the portions of the skull that would likely result in any further brain injury, bleeding, or infection. Though the initial attempts were fatal, they standardized and perfected the surgical techniques over time. Number 2. Contrary to popular belief, the Egyptian pyramids were not built by slaves. The life of a pyramid builder certainly was not easy. Skeletons of workers commonly showed signs of arthritis and other ailments, but evidence suggests that the massive tombs were built not by slaves but by paid laborers. These ancient construction workers were a mix of skilled artisans and temporary hands, and some appear to have taken great pride in their craft. The idea that slaves built the pyramids was first conjured by the Greek historian Herodotus in the 5th century BC, but most historians now dismiss it as a myth. While the ancient Egyptians certainly kept slaves, they appear to mostly have used them as field hands and domestic servants. Number 3. The earliest flush toilets were used by the Indus Valley civilization. Almost 4,000 years ago, every home in Mohenjo-daro and Harappa had a flush toilet connected to a common sewage system. The Indus Valley civilization had a very sophisticated water management system with reservoirs and drainage systems built with precisely laid bricks. Almost all the courtyard houses had a place for bathing and a toilet. The solid wastes were often removed to be used as a fertilizer. Number 4. In the city-state Athens of ancient Greece, each year, the citizens could vote to banish any person who was growing too powerful and becoming a threat to democracy. The process was called ostracism. This process was used in the 5th century BCE. Once a year, the Athenians were asked to assemble to vote if they want to ostracize anyone. If they voted yes, then the process would be held 2 months later when the Athenians would scratch the names of those they wished to banish on a pottery shard. These shards are then deposited and then counted. Any person who received at least 6,000 votes would have 10 days to leave the city. They are banished for 10 years. And after that, they could re-enter the society without social stigma. The penalty for returning before 10 years was death. Number 5. Ancient Rome had a 4-story shopping mall with 150 shops and offices. Trajan's Market was built during the reign of the Roman Emperor Trajan, who ruled from 100 to 110 CE. The market is considered the world's oldest shopping mall. The building housed at least 150 shops, apartments, offices, and possibly administrative offices for Emperor Trajan. It also had a library and 2 large halls for auditions or concerts. The Grand Hall of the market had a concrete vaulted roof which allowed plenty of light and air inside. The products the shop sold include a wide variety of fruits, vegetables, fish, wines, oils, and spices. Number 6. Egyptian workers were known to organize labor strikes. Even though they regarded the pharaoh as a kind of a living god, Egyptian workers were not afraid to protest for better working conditions. The most famous example came in the 12th century BC when laborers did not receive their usual payment of grain. The protest took the form of a sit-in The workers simply entered nearby mortuary temples and refused to leave until their grievances were heard. The gamble worked, and the laborers were eventually given their overdue rations. Number 7. The Aztecs once fed their people by creating gardens in infertile, swampy land, which they farmed extensively. By the time the Spanish came to Mexico in 1519, the Aztec population was 5 to 6 million, and they farmed extensively to meet their food needs. They constructed fertile lands called the chinampas upon the shallow lake beds. The chinampas were usually 90 meters long and 5 or 10 meters wide. They were constructed by fencing off the area, which was then layered with fertile mud, such as the lake's sedimentation and decaying vegetation, though sometimes referred to as floating gardens. Chinampas were built over the lake beds, and so do not float. Various crops such as maize, tomatoes, amaranth, chili peppers, beans, and even flowers were grown on the chinampas. Number 8. While at sea, the Vikings used ravens to navigate. They would carry them aboard the ships, release them, and sail in the direction the ravens flew to find land. The ravens were so important to them that they became part of their mythology and the symbol on their banners. The raven banner was used by various Viking rulers from 9th to 11th centuries and was considered a symbol of Odin, who was often represented with 2 ravens called Hugin and Munin. For the most part, the Vikings didn't have to sail farther than what they could in a day, but over decades they gained a lot of practical knowledge about sailing, such as using the locations of the sun and the stars, or how the presence of certain birds and seaweeds meant there was an island nearby. Number 9. Ancient Persians would drink to excess after making an important decision. The decision was good if they still felt the same way about it when intoxicated. The purpose of this ritual was to ascertain the usefulness of a decision. Since they believed that you could only tell the truth when you are drunk, they would drink quite a lot of wine after deciding, and if their mind still felt the decision was right, then it is considered the right decision. Number 10. Paper as we know it today was first made in China. Paper was first made in around 105 AD by a Chinese court official. He mixed mulberry bark, hemp, and rags with water. Then he mashed it into pulp, pressing out the liquid, and hung that thin mat to dry in the sun. Before then, people communicated through pictures and symbols etched on stones, bones, cave walls, or clay tablets. During the 8th century, Muslims learned the Chinese secret of paper making. They spread this knowledge to Europe, and that's the end of the facts. And I hope you guys like this video. And please like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell to be the first ones to watch my future videos. See you in the next video.